Hello, everyone. My name is Abraham Bearpaw. I'm the founder of Walking in Balance Wellness and Prevention Program, and I appreciate you picking up one of our mindfulness craft kits that we're going to go over. So this is actually the first fire craft kit that we're going to be doing today, which is inside you'll find a spider, magnet, paint, rhinestones, and fire, everything you need to complete the magnet. So this is what it's going to look like, a version of this. We appreciate everybody's creativity, so you get to make yours however you want. So we'll go ahead and get started with that here in a second, and I will also tell the story for the first fire. So if you haven't already, I would just wanted to let you know that if you find yourself on Amazon ever, you can pick up a copy of our participant workbook, and you can work through the entire curriculum and also keep track of your progress via our daily planner. So every single day, there's space in here for you to write what you're grateful for, what your affirmations are, your appointments, your emotional check-in, how are you feeling, what do you need to do today for your self-care, and then at the end of the day, what went well today, right? We want to quiet that inner critic, continue to build up our inner cheerleader, right? So I'm going to go ahead and get us started, and I will start to tell the story while you're working. So whenever you open up your craft kit, this is what it's going to look like. You'll have your spider, you're going to have a crown, rhinestones, an applicator, paint, and paintbrush. And so this is, like I said, an example of what the finished product could look like. So the first thing that I do is just unfold the paper towel, and I'll go ahead and set my magnet on there so that I can start painting. So you can go ahead and just grab your paintbrush. We'll just get a little paint, and we're just going to go ahead and start painting. So we call these mindfulness craft kits because we want to practice mindfulness, right? I mean, I don't know about you, but I tend to life gets me busy, and we can find ourselves just going. So, for whatever reason you purchased this craft kit, or if you saw us at a conference or whatever, these craft kits, this curriculum is beneficial for everyone. Whether you are in, a parenting program, a recovery program, or just for wellness and prevention. We teach this a lot just for burnout prevention, for employee wellness, right? Compassion fatigue, all of these things, they kind of creep up on you, right? So, and also we recognize to be able to take care of anybody, we should take care of ourselves first, right? We all get to, we all deserve to feel good. We all deserve to be well, right? So we're just going to take some deep breaths. We're just going to practice mindfulness. I'm neurodivergent, and so I have ADHD, so I tend to talk fast, move fast, breathe fast, the whole thing. And that's why we created these craft kits, is just to be able to slow down, right? Slow my body down, slow my brain down, slow my breathing down, slow my brush strokes down, the whole deal. This really helps us to stay connected when we are able to move slower, right? So, and with intention. So our program components, I'm sure you're aware, we talk about wellness a lot, gratitude, self-compassion, self-care. And self-compassion is one thing we want to practice while we are, creating our magnet, because that inner critic can be like, oh, I made a mistake. Oh, that looks bad. Or compare our work to others or something like that. And, we just want to continue to remind ourselves that we are perfect, that we are safe, that everything's okay, that it is okay just to have fun. We don't have to be perfect in all of the things that we do. We're allowed to make mistakes, right? So the story of the first fire in Cherokee culture, I'll tell a version of it. I do not fancy myself a storyteller per se, but I do believe that it's important for everyone to tell stories. Traditionally, this is how we pass down values, morals, lessons, And it, was really effective because it was entertaining, right? I remember whenever I would ask my uncle a question about medicine or ceremony or wellness or whatever, he would always sit me down and tell me a story. And I remember at the time I was like, dang, I don't have time for this, right? It's 1994. Like, I got important things to do. But because he took the time to do that, I still remember those lessons and values all these years later, right? So, like I said, this is just a version of the story. You'll hear it told several ways, probably. So, the version I tell, a long, long time ago, before there were people, animals were the only ones here. And so, whenever this story took place, it was a time of extreme cold. Must have been during an ice age or something, right? And so, unfortunately, not all of the animals were suited for the extreme cold, and some of them started to pass away. And so they decided to have a council meeting. They decided to come together to decide, what can we do to help each other? What can we do to help those animals who, are so affected by the cold, right? So they all came together to have a council meeting. And during this council meeting, they decided, we are going to pray. We are going to have a ceremony to help us. We're going to ask for assistance from Unetlana, which is the Cherokee word for creator, right? We're going to ask Unetlana for help during this tough time, right? So they begin to have a ceremony, and at the end of that ceremony, lightning struck from across from where they were having that ceremony. And everybody was really, kind of in awe. They'd never seen fire before, which in Cherokee, that word is agila, right? So all of the animals, they came back together and they started talking about, well, what should we do? What should we do about this thing that we see over there, right? This fire. So they decided somebody needs to go get that fire, right? So who among us wants to go? They started talking amongst themselves and they heard some murmuring. Finally, Yonah the bear said, I will go get the fire. So you can see I'm spreading my rhinestones out here. And I just put those on the wax paper. The reason being is because you can just kind of hit this paper when nothing's on it, and it'll turn your rhinestones right side up. And also the traditional way to pick up a rhinestone, boom, is with your crown. So they sell expensive rhinestone pickers. They're really essentially just wax, right? So they can't get us, not today. So this is how you pick them up. So if we find a rhinestone here, I just use the broadside of my crown, pick it up, boom, just like that. And then I can put that anywhere I want. So the process for this is, you have your applicator here. You can use it to do your eyebrows, but you should probably make sure you don't have glue on it, right? But first, I'll just take a little bit, put a little glue where I want a rhinestone to go. I've picked up my rhinestone here, and then boom, I set it right on there. So you can see it. And then, like I said, just be okay not being perfect in any of this. We're just going to continue this process. I'm going to put some rhinestones around, and we can also use the glue to put our flame or our fire wherever you want to. So I'm going to put mine here, and I'll just put some paint on the back here, and then I'll put it on. So to continue the story, the fire, lightning struck, started a fire, and all of the animals were trying to figure out, what should we do, right, about this new thing. So the first one to volunteer to go to get the fire was Yonah the bear. So Yonah said, you know what, I'm the biggest, I'm the fastest, I'm going to go over and I will get that fire, right? So Yonah takes off, heads over there to where the fire is, and he didn't know about fire or anything yet, right? So he just went to go pick it up, picked up a big armful of the fire, as much as he could get, and you know what happened, right? He caught on fire. Just caught him on fire, turned him all black, and they say that's why back home in North Carolina, we have black bears, right? So Yonah came back feeling defeated, a little embarrassed, right? Just singed and smoking. And so they began to talk again. Well, who's going to go try next, right? The next one to volunteer was Wahoo the owl. So Wahoo flew over, and then the same thing happened, right? Wahoo thought because he didn't have fur that he wouldn't get burned. But yep, lo and behold, went over there and caught on fire, right? Burnt him up around his eyes. Came back, defeated again. The next one to volunteer was Raven, right? Raven said, well, I'm not going to go try and pick it up. I'm going to learn from everybody else's mistakes, right? And so a long, long time ago, Raven was actually rainbow colored, kind of like a parrot, and just took off beautiful in the sky. Just rainbow colored feathers, flying through the sky, and, went and hovered above where the fire was. And then right at that moment, an ember popped and caught Raven on fire too. And they say that's why Raven is also black to this day. But they say if you ever find a raven feather and hold it up to the light, you can see the rainbow color still in there where it was rainbow colored so long ago, right? So this continues to happen. The snake got burned on its back. The skunk got burned, right? All of these animals just over and over and over. And so the whole time everybody was volunteering to go, and the water spider had actually been volunteering, but nobody listened to the water spider for two reasons. One, because water spider was tiny, and two, because water spider was a girl. So finally, she decided, you know what? I don't need anybody's permission to help my community. I don't need anybody's permission to be a leader, right? So she just took off on her own. Took off, glided across the water there that separated the animals from where the fire was. And she went over and, but she was intelligent, and she learned from, kind of the mistakes that everybody else had made. And instead of trying to pick up the fire, she went over and instead went to the mud there and got some of that mud and made a tiny pot. Then she put that pot on her back, went over to the fire, and instead of picking it up, oops, broke my crown. That's okay. Remember, working on our inner cheerleader. And made the tiniest pot, right? And took that pot over, put it on her back, took that pot over and went to the fire, picked up a stick and got the tiniest ember to put in that pot. And then she was able to bring the fire back to all of the animals, right? And so we tell that story for a number of reasons. One, to remind us that everybody has their gifts, right? Everybody has value. Everybody has something to contribute. In Cherokee culture, we're actually taught that everybody's created perfectly. There's a reason why you are how you are. There's a reason why you have your specific skill set. There's a reason why you have your personality, all of these things, right? It's because our community needs those gifts. Maybe your family needs your skills, right? What have you. And so, and then also, like I said, to remind us that, to practice acceptance. In Cherokee culture, I love it about our culture is that we've always, had balance. We've had male leadership and female leadership. So that's not something we've ever had to deal with, but it's important to remind us, like I said, to practice acceptance, to make sure that we're practicing these protective factors that promote connection and community, right? So as you can see my video, I am not the perfect craft person, but I think that's a good way to illustrate my point today, which is if it's fun, if you enjoy doing it, then have fun doing it, right? A lot of times, in our country, we're taught if you're not good at something, don't even bother, right? But, perfectionism is something we definitely want to get away from. I think it can definitely cause us a lot of issues, right? So, with our crafting, we don't have to be perfect, just like in life. We're allowed to make mistakes. We are allowed to have fun. We're allowed to put color wherever we want. So you can continue putting your rhinestones on, and then your finished product will look something like this, depending on how much you like rhinestones, right? I grew up back in the 90s and 80s, and that was called bedazzling back then, and we bedazzled everything, right? But I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the craft and the story. I encourage everyone to learn as many stories as you can. And, my sister often says about our culture, we want to learn, practice, and teach, because our culture is actually a framework for our wellness, right? So I hope you guys have a great time doing this. And if you want to share your pictures on Instagram so others can see, you can just do hashtag walking in balance and throw your pictures up there. We'd love to see your finished product. So I hope you guys have a great day. Well done, everybody. Thank you.